I'm Tracy Smith, and this is Here Comes the Sun, a closer look at some of the people, places, and things we bring you every weekend on Sunday morning. For the past 20 years, the Duplass brothers have established themselves as two of the most creative producers, actors, and directors in Hollywood. They're the names behind the Emmy-winning documentary Wild Wild Country and HBO's hit comedy drama Somebody Somewhere. They were determined to make movies, but as they told our Luke Burbank, it took them a few years to hone their craft.
Over their career, the brothers have created literally hundreds of movies and TV shows, many of which they've self-financed, an ethos they developed as kids making movies in the New Orleans suburbs.
You know, we were not the Coen brothers running around with Sam Raimi.
No.
You're not going to look at these movies and be like,
this is prophetic.
they're going to...
Future greatness.
These are the movies you look at and you say,
should we tape over this?
I hope they're okay with law school.
Later in the show, the Duplass brothers on what they look for in a project.
Is there an essential piece of dirt at the middle of a snowball that the Duplass brothers like to take on? In other words, is there something in the story or the characters that you tend to be looking for? Is there a through line for all these disparate projects?
I would love to sound smart and feel like there's a curated ideology at the center of all of it. I think it is, what is at the center for me is avoiding my head and using my gut instinct. That my head always gets me in trouble with stuff, and when I trust my gut on things, that's very helpful.
Then we travel to St. Petersburg, Florida, where 2,400 of Salvador Dali's works are on display at his namesake museum. Every year, over 300,000 visitors explore the collection, which chronicles Dali's career. Conor Knighton got a tour and learned why he's the world's most famous surrealist painter.
Many of Dali's works combine the real and the surreal, a juxtaposition Dali could pull off thanks to his training as a precise classical painter.
He can paint like an old master. However, he wasn't content to stay there.
As program director Kim McQuarrie explains, Dali found inspiration by diving deep into the subconscious.
He was very interested in the writings of the Austrian psychoanalyst Sigmund Freud. And so when he cuts the drawers into the Venus, what he's imagining is, what would happen if we could go up and open the drawers and look inside someone to see what really makes them tick?
That's all coming up right here on Here Comes the Sun. Mark and Jay Duplass spent their teens and early 20s creating full-length films, but nothing fell into place until they made their improvised 7-minute film, This Is John. It was accepted into the Sundance Film Festival in 2003 and changed their lives. Luke Burbank sat down with the brothers to discuss their past and present projects, their mental health struggles, and the deep brotherly bond they share.
I've never won an audience.
Even when they are the ones being interviewed, Jay and Mark Duplass can't help but try to direct things.
Okay, are you still rolling? Still rolling, yeah. Okay, we're gonna give
Helpfully offering some random audio-video transitions that might come in handy for us in the editing room.
In an interview, you need good transitions, and you may not have them, you know?
Sure.
So, a couple of transitions, courtesy of Jay and Mark Duplass.
That's Jay on the left and Mark on the right.
Yeah, I get it. Well, the most important thing is, that's true, yeah.
Oh, big time. Big time. You have no idea. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Who knows, maybe we should let them direct this story. After all, over the past 20 years, they've quietly become some of the most prolific producers, writers, directors, and actors working in Hollywood.
This was not motivated by greed. This was evil.
Like the Emmy-winning Netflix documentary Wild Wild Country, about a religious cult in Oregon.
What is happening is historic.
God, I can't believe I know you now. You're a big deal.
And the HBO sleeper hit, Somebody Somewhere. Over their career, the brothers have created literally hundreds of movies and TV shows, many of which they've self-financed, an ethos they developed as kids making movies in the New Orleans suburbs.
You know, we were not the Coen brothers running around with Sam Raimi.
No.
You're not going to look at these movies and be like,
this is prophetic.
they're going to...
Future greatness.
These are the movies you look at and you say,
should we tape over this?
I hope they're okay with law school.
Yes.
Undeterred, the brothers spent their teens and early 20s playing in bands, editing other people's projects, and making their own full-length films. but nothing quite seemed to click. Until one day, broke, depressed, and sitting on the couch, Mark had an idea.
I'm like pushing 30. I'm like, I can't do this to myself, to my family. Like, it's not working. And Mark was like, okay, you come up with an idea, and I'm going to the corner store and I'm buying a tape. And I was like, a tape? And he's like, yeah, we're gonna use mom and dad's home video camera, which was just sitting in my bedroom.
The result was a 7-minute improvised film called This Is John, about a guy having a breakdown while trying to record the outgoing message on his answering machine.
Hi, it's John Ashford. Hello!
It's weird and raw.
This is John Ashford.
And very Duplass brothers.
Hey, this is John. What's up?
The video was accepted to the Sundance Film Festival and changed the brothers' lives, as did their next big project, The Puffy Chair, an indie movie they shot for $10,000 borrowed from their parents.
What are you doing?
I'm picking you up for a road trip, dude.
What?
The movie was a hit on Netflix and established what would become their signature voice, films and TV shows that portray real people navigating life's big and small moments as best they can, something the brothers have been doing with their own relationship for almost 50 years.
We don't belong in this business. We don't know anybody. We don't know anything. And we're just making it up as we go.
I mean, for me, like, there has been nothing more essential in my life from a career standpoint, from a mental health standpoint, like, than my partnership with Jay through these critical years, which for me basically started at birth.
Mark has been public with his struggles with depression and mental health.
When you're unstable for as long as, I have been, or people who share this affliction have been, and you have some sense of stability, you're so hesitant to change that up.
And Jay says he's dealt with many of the same issues, and even the occasional bout of jealousy, mostly back during the years he was behind the camera and Mark was the face of the operation.
I was jealous.
Yeah.
And very worried, because I was very much, Mark has always had a bigger, more expansive idea of what things could be than me. I just wanted to be the Coen brothers with Mark.
Things changed, though, when Jay was cast in the Amazon hit Transparent.
When I was a kid, I imagined a very different picture of success.
Molly and I haven't had an active sex life in years.
These days, he's one of the stars of the new FX series, Dying for Sex, along with Michelle Williams.
Okay, are you trying to hurt me?
No, it's not about you. This is about what I want. This is about how I feel, and I want to feel things.
You know what I do when I have something really scary at work like this?
Meanwhile, Mark is one of the leads in the Hulu drama Good American Family.
I jump the jitters out.
The brothers are even trying to keep movie theaters alive, or at least a movie theater, in Eagle Rock, California, that they helped establish.
We're at church.
We're
is where we are right now.
Yes. We are at Vidiot's in Eagle Rock. It is a movie theater, video store. It is a gathering place for
it's
people.
It's the third place, as people like to talk about it.
Meanwhile, over on the video store side, Jay is still coming to terms with the fact that there's an entire shelf dedicated to his and Mark's work.
Just to my left here is the Duplass section of the video store. What's that feel like?
It feels pretty good. I mean, when I first started going to like cool movie stores, like you would definitely just go to the director's section, and definitely had dreams of having a director's section. It's very surreal.
Also a bit surreal, just as we ended one of our interviews and turned off our fancy TV cameras, Jay got word that his latest film, The Baltimoreans, which he directed, won the audience prize at the South by Southwest Film Festival, a huge honor. And the first person there to congratulate him was, of course, his little brother Mark.
There's never any fighting with me and Jay. There's sadness, there's hurt feelings, there are long conversations where we work things out. I don't think I've ever raised my voice at Jay since I hit puberty.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Considering how intertwined your lives are, your careers are.
I just love him so much, is really what it comes down to. And like, to be in his sidecar with the little goggles on and know that I'm a part of his journey and look up at him driving that motorcycle is like, I can't explain it. It's, yeah, it's just everything.
Up next, an exclusive excerpt from Luke Burbank's chat with Mark and Jay Duplass, something you can only see right here on Here Comes the Sun. Stay with us. As promised, here's more from Luke Burbank's interview with Mark and Jay Duplass.
You both are very open about being kind of emotional guys, and it's in a lot of your work and stuff. Have you just surrendered to the crying now versus trying to, because in my life, I'm also kind of a crier. As soon as I start telling myself don't cry, it's like over.
Yeah, there's no suppression. It's
Not for
I
me.
need it.
Yeah.
I need it, and I'm thrilled when it comes by. I don't know, it's just there, and so I need it to come out, you know, regularly.
Yeah, and the completely uneducated, made-up mythology of my own mental health and what I need, to me, tears are pure catharsis. There's something in here that needs to be expressed through either anger or sadness. I don't like the anger part. Sadness is the best way out. So I will take all the tears I can. I love them. Feels so good.
Is there an essential like piece of dirt at the middle of a snowball that the Duplass brothers like to take on? In other words, is there something in the story or the characters that you tend to be looking for? Is there a through line for all these disparate projects?
I would love to sound smart and feel like there's a curated ideology at the center of all of it. I think it is, what is at the center for me is avoiding my head and using my gut instinct. That my head always gets me in trouble with stuff, and when I trust my gut on things, that's very helpful. I think something that has been happening for us over the last 10 years is it kind of became very apparent to us in this industry that like most people spend their time looking up to someone who's in a little bit more of a successful place than them and reaching up and saying, will you please help me come up, please? And then you take a step back and you just see all these talented artists not getting to make their art because they're just looking up, asking for somebody to grab their hands to get to the next level. And I think we love working with our peers around us, and in particular, seeing people who are really talented who haven't gotten their shot yet. And again, that's maybe a little bit of survivor's guilt for me. But the idea that you would stop reaching up and then just reach sideways or reach down and grab somebody's hand, take them to where you are, which they're dying to be there, even though you want to be somewhere else. If everybody did that, I think we'd make a lot more art.
As a collaborator with Mark Jay, have you had to figure out how to sort of support him and work with him in the sort of ups and downs of how he might be feeling?
We made a whole movie while I was in the middle of a crash once.
Yeah, we did. We made I mean, that's what I was going to say first of all, I'll just say that I have all the same stuff that Mark has. I think Mark has bigger swings than me. And Mark, because he deals with the volume that he deals with, I think it's tougher on him too, because he has to like handle a lot of people.
I'm on the hook for a lot.
Mark's on the hook
which I like,
for a lot.
but it's hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what I mean, just when you were talking, I was thinking another thing that about our ecosystem that allows us to operate when we crash or when we get crazy or whatever is the frankness with which we share with our collaborators that like this is who we are and this needs to be a flexible environment. And when you share that with other people and ask for help, frankly, you know, we had our third independent film that we were, you know, going to pay for. Mark had a huge crash before, and he was going to star in it. And so we went and got one of our best friends, Mark Kelly, to show up in New Orleans. And he flew in, and the next day he was like doing a very thick scene.
Yeah, he was incredible.
And he was incredible. And you know, there was like we weren't hiding any of it. It's just like this is, and we have the kind of ecosystem where I could just be like, Mark, you can come when you want to come. You don't have to come when you don't want to come.
Yeah.
And he could roll in and out. And he ended up being there pretty much the whole time.
But I didn't have to.
You didn't have to, and you knew the thing would keep going, you know.
I think that's so critical for people to understand, and it relates to our partnership too, which is, you know, as an artist, I really felt the pressure, like, if I'm going to be a successful artist, I'm going to have to be really, really good at all these facets of the job. And what I've discovered is, like, I think I just have to be really good at like 2 or 3 things, and then surround myself with people who I feel comfortable to be vulnerable with and say, either I don't have it today because of my mental health, or in general, like, I'm not good at camera stuff. Like, I've never learned lenses. I don't know that stuff. Does that make me a bad director? No, I just hire the right director of photography, or I partner with someone who's really good at that, you know? And that is something that our partnership allowed from the early days, and it was a microcosm that we've been able to kind of apply to, like, working with lots of different people.
Up next, the surreal art of Salvador Dali. Welcome back. The largest collection of surrealist Salvador Dali's art is in Florida, of all places, a state he never actually visited. 2 devoted fans collected his work over 4 decades and donated their collection in the late 70s. They insisted one museum receive all the pieces. In the end, it was the city of St. Petersburg that raised its hand. Conor Knighton has more.
Good evening. Tonight, we go after the story of an extraordinary personality. He's Salvador Dali, the great surrealist painter who sees the world through surrealist eyes.
When Mike Wallace interviewed Salvador Dali in 1958, the painter seemed to believe that he might live forever.
What do you think will happen to you when you die?
Myself no believe in my death.
You will not die?
No believe in general in the death, but in the death of Dali, absolutely no. Not.
Greetings.
Dali did die in 1989, but in a way, he was right.
And I am back.
The artist lives on at the Dalí Museum in St. Petersburg, Florida. A collection which chronicles his career through more than 2,400 of his works, from oil paintings to sculptural mashups to fine jewelry. Inside the Dalí Dome, a Dalí Alive 360 show fully immerses visitors in his art.
Its spirit is based in Dali's. That is, Dali was always trying to do things in new ways. The structure continues.
Hank Hine is the executive director of the museum, devoted to the world's most famous surrealist painter.
The amazing thing about Dali is that his impact is still felt today, not only in art, but in culture generally.
Today, Salvador Dali may be a household name, but his name first belonged to his parents' firstborn son.
His parents named him after his dead brother. That saddled him with a burden of identity that lasted all his life and can explain a lot of his art. For instance, his double images, where you see one thing and you see another. So this Salvador Dali was always wondering, am I myself or am I the other?
Many of Dali's works combine the real and the surreal, a juxtaposition Dali could pull off thanks to his training as a precise classical painter.
He can paint like an old master. However, he wasn't content to stay there.
As program director Kim McQuarrie explains, Dali found inspiration by diving deep into the subconscious.
He was very interested in the writings of the Austrian psychoanalyst Sigmund Freud. And so when he cuts the drawers into the Venus, what he's imagining is, what would happen if we could go up and open the drawers and look inside someone to see what really makes them tick?
As far as ticking goes, Dali's famous painting of melting watches, The Persistence of Memory, is actually at the Museum of Modern Art in New York. But his follow-up is here, hanging in a museum in a state Dali never even visited.
Did Dali have any connection to St. Petersburg, Florida?
He didn't have any connection to St. Petersburg.
What he did have were 2 very big fans. A wealthy Ohio couple, Eleanor and Reynolds Morse, bought a Dali painting to celebrate their first anniversary, a purchase which kicked off a lifetime of collecting and friendship. They acquired everything from Dali's early Cubist paintings to his later larger religious-themed canvases.
They loved Dali so much that they bought only Dali for 4 decades and were able to put together what is the preeminent collection of Dali in the world.
When the Morse family decided to donate their collection in the late 70s, they were insistent that it all go to one location, but no museum stepped up. After the Wall Street Journal wrote an article, U.S. Art World Dilly-Dallies over Dali's, the people of St. Petersburg said, well, heck, We'll take it.
The city made an agreement to find a building for them. Not the building we're in now, it was just a marine warehouse.
The Dalí Museum opened in 1982. In 2011, it moved to its current location, where the Morse's son Brad now comes to see the paintings that once covered his childhood home.
There was not a square foot or inch even of wall space that wasn't holding a Dalí painting.
So this was hanging in your childhood bedroom?
Yes. The headboard was there, and the base of the thing was here, and there was a window.
Now, more than 300,000 visitors a year come to see the fascinating ways in which Dalí saw the world.
Dalí had a really great quote, and I think it's indicative of how he saw himself and how he saw the world, and that was, "I don't do drugs, I am drugs."
I love that.
He thought that seeing as he did would absolutely change your perspective.
Dalí was perceived as an eccentric. Especially in his later life, he was known just as much for his wild persona as he was for his art. Here he is in a commercial for chocolate.
Du chocolat l'envers.
But in death, his work has gained greater critical appreciation.
I think the height of his fame is not over. Dalí's star is still rising in the world, largely because of what he suggested in his art about the ability to see the world in a different way, something that we really need in this world today.
I'm Tracy Smith. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you here next time on Here Comes the Sun.